Productivity is how much you get, whether that be money, whether that be fitness, or whatever you're trying to achieve in comparison to the amount of time that you put in. And once I understood how to maximize this, I went from $0 at 18 years old, dropping out of school, to $2.5 million per year at 23. And that doesn't even include the portfolio companies that I own as well. And in this video, I'm going to pull up the calendar that I had at each individual stage of my business growth and walk you through it step by step so you don't have to work any harder than you do now to build a big business. So here is my maximizing productivity time management guide. And what we're going to talk about, we're going to cover 4 key stages of the business. $0 to getting your first client to 10K a month, 10K a month to 25K a month, and then 25K a month and beyond. Now, what I'll do for you guys is below, I'll put in the timestamp so you can access the specific stage that you're at in your business, and I can show you how I maximize my productivity at that specific stage. But without further ado, let's get started with the 0 to first client. So if you do not have your first client, 80% of your time will be spent putting in the actions to get your first client, and 20% of the time will be spent educating yourself on how to get your first client. So a calendar breakdown of what this would look like is spending the first 3 hours of your day promoting, doing outreach, telling people that you exist, because nobody knows that you exist. And if you want to make money, if you want to get your first client, the only way to ever have that become a reality is that if you dedicate a significant amount of your time in order to get your first client. So as you can see here during this stage, the majority of the day is either spent getting better at learning how to get clients or getting more clients. And if I do a calendar breakdown, the first thing here is outreach. So that could be cold calling, cold email, cold DMs. The next stage would be some form of a education, right? So that could be, attending community calls, going through course content, watching YouTube videos, finding ways to get better at what you're already doing. The next one would be role play training. So I highly recommend that you find somebody, whether it be in a community or that you know in person, where you can do one-on-one role play sessions with them to train your cold calling and to train your sales. Because at the end of the day, if you were already good at those things, you wouldn't be at this stage because you would have clients. So the biggest bottleneck in your business right now is that you're not good at cold calling, you're not good at sales, and that's why you're not getting any clients, because if you were, you would have clients. So the biggest thing that you could do right now, the best way to maximize the amount you get for every time that you put in, isn't to screw around with your website, isn't to, optimize your social media profile. No, it's to get better at outreach and sales. And the last thing here that I'd recommend that you would do, which also contributes to getting better at outreach and sales, is consuming content and networking with people in your niche to understand how to get results better for them and to understand the niche at a deeper level so you can build more rapport and you can build a better sales process. Next part here is once you've gotten your first client and you're en route to that first 10K a month. So at this point, you have a few clients and we need to start working a little bit on client fulfillment. However, you must not sacrifice your getting client efforts. This is a common yet fatal mistake that many entrepreneurs make at this stage, and it keeps them stuck making a few grand per month. I've seen this happen so many times where they outreach, they do hard, they're doing the right things, they're very productive for the amount of time that they're putting in, they're getting a lot out, they're booking a lot of appointments, and then they get a client and then they completely freak out. And they dedicate all their time to service delivery and they're panicking and all that kind of stuff, and they completely stop promoting. But unless you're at $1 million a year plus, if not $1 million a month, you should be spending 3 to 4 hours per day promoting your company. So to think that after one client, you're done promoting and it's now time to focus on service delivery is absolutely insane. And that's why so many people only ever get 1 or 2 clients with their agency and then quit. That's real talk right there. Okay, so what your calendar and what my calendar looked like at this stage was the first thing, right? Spending that same 3 hours per day in the morning with your cold calling, with your cold email, with your cold DMs, right? Again, continuing to join community calls, go through course content, speak with mentors, speak with other people in the space to learn and to get better. Continuing to spend your one-on-one role play sessions with entrepreneurs to train cold calling and sales. If you've closed one person, you are not good at sales. If you closed 100 people, now you understand something about sales. And until you've closed over 100 people, you should be spending every single day getting better at that, because that is the most productive thing that you can do. The theme of this video is being productive, how to maximize what you get, how to maximize how much money you make for the amount of time that you put in. And this is exactly how to do it. Then, of course, we are going to be spending some time doing some client fulfillment. So that will look like onboarding calls, managing ad accounts / funnels, and check-in calls, right? And so from here, this is a screenshot of the calendar that I had here. So spending 3 days per week with about an hour and a half, 90 minutes per day, meeting with our clients, optimizing their funnels. We don't need to be doing it every single day. Heck, if you only really begin to optimize campaigns after each individual ad is spent like $100 each. So if you're optimizing your campaign after you've spent $14 on your ads, you're just wasting your time. Like, you're just wasting your time. And the last thing here is to continue to double down on that niche research, consuming content, networking to better understand your niche, better understand how to get results for your niche, better understand the problems that you have within that niche. Okay, now here's the next big change that we're going to make. The next big jump is when we go from, having a couple clients and we're a borderline freelancer to that 10K a month mark, where our company begins to look and serve and we begin to become a true CEO. Okay, so at this point, we're transitioning from a freelancer to a business owner. We have about 5-ish clients, and we've onboarded one appointment setter that is following the systems that we use to get our first 10K a month. We've onboarded a delivery team member to help us with fulfillment, and we are launching paid ads while we continue our outbound efforts. At this stage, we want to allocate 20 to 30% of our week to supporting our team while spending the rest of their time improving the business. So this is the next big change with how to change your calendar to maximize your productivity. So this one is going to get a little bit more busier, but I'll break it down for you on how this works. Okay. So the first thing here up top from 7 to 9 a.m. Now, obviously, you can change this to your times going to your schedule, is funnel optimization. So what this looks like is, because you're not necessarily the one doing the cold calling, or you're not necessarily the one doing the cold DMs, or if you're running ads, instead, you're going to be using the slightly higher leverage position where you're just going to be looking at the data and revising the outbound scripts, managing your ads, creating new ads, split testing your funnels, revising your setting scripts, and revising your sales scripts. Now, the next phase will be your actual team meetings, right? Because now that you have a setter, you have to meet with them on a daily basis to continue training and motivate them. So what I've always done is I spend 30 minutes in the morning just to meet with my one setter or two setters or however many setters I have on the team. And then from there, you want to roll that into your delivery meeting, right? So you meet with your fulfillment team to continue to train, to continue to review client work, and to continue to motivate from there. The next thing that we're also going to introduce at this stage is a team meeting. So meeting with your entire team to motivate, answer questions, and share company updates. These are super valuable. I usually do these once per week. They're about 30 minutes long, and the entire team, doesn't matter if you have 3 people on the team or 20 people on the team, the entire team jumps on to feel like they're a part of something bigger. It's going to keep them motivated. They're going to build lifelong relationships working for you at your company with the other people in your team, and it will really maximize the overall productivity your team has when they feel like they're a part of something big and when they understand the overall picture, as opposed to they're sitting there with horse blinders on just trying to optimize ads or just trying to cold call all day. When they see that they're a part of something big, they will become more productive and they will get better results for your company. Now, the next thing here is the one-on-one team meetings. So meet one-on-one with every employee to motivate, train, and overcome personal challenges and set growth targets with them, right? So an example with that could be here is a one-on-one team meeting where you just spend 15 minutes one-on-one with each individual team member. You go over their personal challenges, right? You help them, as a person, you help them get better as a person. So as in return, they can be more productive and they can make more money for your business, right? Now, at this stage, you still don't know shit. You're making 10K a month. Factor in profit margins, factor in whatever. You're probably making as much as like 70 grand a year, which is like the average Joe Schmo on the street, right? So there's still so much to learn when it comes to business. And this is another big trap, is people make 10K a month, their ego goes to the roof and they think that they know everything. And then they learn once they get to like 100K a month, 200K a month, if they ever get there, they're sitting there at 100K a month thinking that they don't know anything. Like, that's like me right now. I sit here every single day and I'm like, I don't know anything. Right? Because you've learned that there's people that are so much farther ahead than you. You learn that as big as you think you are such a small fish in the grand scheme of things. And there are sharks out there. And those sharks, a lot of the time, are actually going to be willing to help you. So if you can get in contact with them and you can learn from them, that's going to massively increase the growth of your company. Sales calls, at this point, we're still going to be taking some sales calls ourselves, right? So we do want to dedicate a couple days per week to taking sales calls. One of the recommendations that I have for you guys is to not take sales calls every single day, because it's really tough if you get no shows. You're kind of jumping in and out of, you're working on your funnel and then you got to take a sales call, but then you no show, then you got to kind of get back in the funnel work, or same thing with your product development. Instead, I'd recommend having entire days dedicated just to working on the business, and then days where you're a little bit more open, a little bit more flexible with your schedule, and you're open to taking sales calls. Client fulfillment, right? So again, we're going to be continuing to, increase our, doing our onboarding calls, managing our ad accounts, checking calls, niche research. That pretty much stays the same. constantly getting better, constantly understanding the niche better. Now, the next one is product development, right? And at this point, this is the second most important thing. Actually, it's probably the most important thing that we can be doing, because now we actually have actual clients and we can begin to get that referral flywheel going. We can begin to get case studies so we can leverage that into our marketing so we can get more business, and the exponential flywheel of growth can begin to kick off within our company, right? So in order to do that, what product development looks like is taking feedback from clients, your team, and new findings, and creating assets, systems, or strategies to make your service better, right? It's spending 2 to 3 hours per day at minimum, figuring out ways to get better client results and to constantly make improvements and to constantly improve what they're doing. Anybody who has worked with me knows one of the actual problems, I guess you could say, with working with us is that every single week we're implementing new things, we're changing things up, we're finding ways to make better so they can get even better and better and better and better results. We've had people that have worked with us for 6 to 12 months, and what we did for them 12 months ago looks completely different from what we're doing now, because every single day I'm spending 2 to 3 hours a day figuring out what people need, figuring out the problems that they have, increasing the level of our trainings, increase the level of our support, adding on done for you services, whatever that case may be, to get them the absolute best results we possibly can. The next thing here is response times. Okay, and this is one of the most valuable things that I've also implemented in my business to maximize productivity, because one of the kryptonites to productivity is distractions and is multitasking, right? And if you're in the middle of, optimizing a new funnel or working on your product, and then you get a Slack message and you stop to respond to that Slack message and you come back, you're not going to be productive, as opposed to if you just lock in. So one of the things that we implemented is something called response times. And essentially what this works is you'll set up anywhere between 3 to 6 of them per day. For example, I have 5 here. And what you do is during these times, you go through, you manage all your Slack messages, you respond to all your emails, you respond to all your text messages. Now, the key is that if you are not during a response time, you leave Slack alone, you leave email alone, you leave your text alone to focus on growing the business, right? You also let your clients know and you let everybody in your team know that these are your response times, and whenever they message you, you will get back to them at your next response time. And if you do that, it'll set the expectation as to when they should expect a response. So if it takes you 2 hours to respond, they're not going to be upset because they know that is your dedicated response time. And the last thing here is now we will definitely begin to introduce some high-level planning. So this is what we'll typically do at the end of the week. We'll overall reflect on everything that happened in the week. We'll do an audit of the entire company to figure out what the problems are and then what the highest priority problems are. And then we'll begin to put a plan in place to solve those problems during either the funnel optimization or the product development section, or during the team calls leading up into next week. Now, the last phase here is the 25K a month mark plus. And at this stage, we now have a real business and it's time to treat it as such. So we've begun to remove ourselves from the trenches. We've onboarded another setter, a closer, and a few more delivery team members. At this stage, we spend the majority of our time managing, motivating, and training our team. We occasionally get in the trenches to lead by example, and we have a heavy focus on improving our service. So again, here is a sample calendar of what it would look like. This is very similar to what my calendar looks like right now. And what this is to break it down again, every single morning, because we're not at $1 million a month yet, we are spending a good amount of time focusing on promoting our company. So we're revising our outbound scripts, we're managing our ads, we're creating new ads, we're split testing funnels, we're revising setting scripts, and now we're even revising sales scripts as well, because we have a closer taking sales calls for us. We have that sales team meeting. So now we've merged our setter meeting into a sales team meeting where we have both our setters on the closers on their team, where we continue to train both of them, motivate them, and keep them making sure that they have a pipeline full and are closing deals. Same thing goes with the delivery team. So we meet with their delivery team to continue to train and motivate them. The team meetings, as we discussed earlier, we meet with their entire team to motivate, answer any questions, and share company updates. We have the one-on-one team meetings where we can meet with them one-on-one with every single employee to motivate, train, and overcome personal challenges and set growth targets. And the next thing here is we're continuing to learn. We're continuing to get better. So whether it be through a mastermind that you're in, you maybe have a mentor, maybe it's just, somebody that connecting with them to learn and to get better every single day. High intent sales calls. So this is the one change that we're making from the 10K a month plus 10 to 25K to 25K plus. We only want to be taking sales calls with high quality leads that would be best to speak with the founder, right? So as you can see, if we compare it to up here, we have a significant more time that we're available to take sales calls, because we're probably taking the majority, if not all, the sales calls at that point. But at this stage, we're only blocking it out for what's called a high intent sales call, which is when you jump on with a really qualified lead, or a lead that maybe has a specific question or a specific use case for your service, where it would be best for the founder to jump on personally and take that call. And those are the only calls that you're taking at this phase. The next part, obviously client fulfillment. We've talked about that a lot in this productivity guide. Niche research, that stays the same. Product development, so continuously taking feedback from clients, your team, and new findings, and creating asset systems and strategies to make your service better. The response times, the high-level planning, that all stays the same. This is just the different in breakdown of what this calendar looks like. All right, so that is there. That is the maximize the productivity guide for each and every stage that you're at inside of your business. Now, if you want to do this, and if you want to, take advantage of having somebody that maybe is a couple steps ahead of you, I don't know. Maybe I am a couple of steps ahead of you. I can do that for you, and it's completely free. Click the link below. We have our free 12 months to $1 million challenge. We have a whole bunch of course content in there, training step-by-steps, the offer script systems that we're using inside of our $200,000 a month company. In addition to that, I also will do 4 calls per month where I'll actually jump on and you can just ask me anything, whatever constraint is in your business, and I'll give you the guidance so you can overcome and unlock that. And like I said, there's also a whole bunch of other entrepreneurs in there that you can network, and you can set up those role play trainings and all that kind of stuff. It's completely free, no credit card required. Other than that, I appreciate the hell out of you for taking the time to watch your video. I hope you got 10x the value in comparison to the time that you invested watching it. Leave a comment below if you have any questions about this, and I'll personally respond. I'll see you guys in the next video.